Ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Well, good Monday morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube and Twitch. This is the Early Bird Special. I'm Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for.
We'll wrap up over the weekend, some WNBA drama. Scheffler wins again, and the Lakers, Luka pulls in another player. Some NFL news, some just really miscellaneous Monday. We'll have our boy Tyson Hayes coming in at 8 o'clock to let us know more about this open mic that starts on Monday nights now, new venue. And we'll take your calls and questions anytime at 661-842-2000.
There's so much to get into. I mean, I called it last week. The god of golf, Scottie Scheffler, obviously winning the Open. Nobody's surprised at all. 14 under. We'll get into that in a little bit, though. Let's talk a little WNBA, because this story has taken over the internet from what I can tell. The WNBA All-Star Game, if you did not watch, I'm sure a lot of you did, was over the weekend. Sabrina Ionescu was the one who won the three-point contest on Saturday, dropped a 30-piece on everybody and looked absolutely amazing. But the biggest story of the weekend when it comes to this, the teams decided that they wanted to take a stand. They wanted to send a message. So to do so, they all donned black T-shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." I'm going to start with Kelsey Plum real quick, because she addressed this after the game and where all this came about and how all this transpired, whose idea it was. So let's hear from Kelsey real quick.
Well, it was a very powerful moment. We didn't, at least as players, we didn't know that was going to happen. So I think it was kind of like a genuine surprise. But the T-shirt, just United front, was determined this morning that we had a meeting for. And, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. But no, we were just... We had a very
that really needed to be mentioned.
I'm trying to make a situation light, okay? But yeah, no, I think it was just all of us getting on the same page for the game. We wanted to do something that was just united and collective, and I thought that it was a very powerful moment and got the point across. And sometimes you don't have to say anything.
Sparky, I'm going to start by saying this. I am all for everybody getting paid. I'm all for women's athletes getting paid. I have no issue with women's athletes, especially the WNBA, getting paid. But first and foremost, the first thing I want to highlight here, what's the purpose of highlighting that none of Caitlin's team was there?
Nothing at all.
What was the point of that?
Just drama.
And then she sit there and try to make light of it. Oh, I'm trying to make light of a situation. You're throwing people under the bus.
Trying to throw wood.
Yeah, you're trying to make it look like you're the good guys. They're the bad guys. They don't care if they get paid. We care if we get paid. They just threw on the T-shirts because they wanted to be followers. First off, Kelsey, that's low. For you to go to the media and throw people under the bus like that, that's low. Second thing that I harp on every time this conversation comes up. Granted, I realize that all NBA teams, all of them, every single one, your net worth has doubled since Caitlin Clark has become part of the league. That is a fact. You could look that up. Their net worth has doubled. Doesn't mean you're making a whole ton of money still. Doubling zero is still zero. So every time I hear this or see these athletes come out and say demanding more money when you really have just started, I keep saying this, you need to pump the brakes for at least a couple more years. When they become established and everything becomes consistent, then ask for the money. Just because there's more money flowing in does not mean you should make a stand and demand all of that money for yourselves. Although I do agree with you, you deserve the brunt of it because obviously you're the athlete. You're taking all the punishment. Your body's going through all the pain and all of that type of stuff. I totally understand. I agree with that. But each and every time this comes up, It just seems like it's poor timing to me. If you would just wait a little bit longer, I know it's not fair. I know I'm asking a lot, especially for players like Kelsey Plum, who probably don't have that much time left in their careers because they've been there for so long. I totally understand that. But you still, like, when Michael came into the league, when Magic came into the league, and all these other stuff, they didn't demand money the next year. They didn't realize, oh, the NBA is making a ton more money off of us, we should demand it for ourselves. It's like, if you wait a couple years, you realize all of that will come with it. All of that comes initially. The WNBA was losing money for the vast majority of its history. It is just now making money. You have to give them time to be able to actually allocate that money to you. What are your thoughts, my friend?
I mean, I get both sides of it. I get where you're coming from, and ideally, you would want to wait a couple years, let the league develop. But I can also see where they're sitting, especially the older players like
Oh,
that.
100%.
But, where the league is, I think the timing is because they know the CBA expires in a couple months, and this is, they think, is their chance to do it, or they're going to have to wait a couple years before the conversation is even getting started.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that's really pissing them off is the expansion. And I think a lot of these players are like, dude, why don't we take care of our players before you start bringing in 40 other players and 2 other teams, which, a financial advisor would tell you, maybe they're trying to grow. Maybe they can double that, which is $2.2 billion. I get it. I can understand the older players, because by the time, if they don't get something done before the end of, October, when the CBA expires, I can see older players not being a part of this unless they adopt some type of franchise, OG players that'll get pass pay,
Like
which they probably won't. Exactly.
Down the line. Yeah.
But I mean, it's a tough situation. I saw that, there was a big meeting a couple days before the All-Star weekend, and 40, 50 players, left mid conversation. So I think they're just stirring up the pot, and you could tell by her voice and the way that she addressed, Caitlin, who was out with an injury.
Well, it's also
It's just high school crap.
that was so dumb.
Yeah,
For her to go out there,
I would
and say,
give her
"I'm
more
not
respect."
tattletelling." I'm like, shut
Exactly.
up.
And the girls laughing in the back. It just reminds me of PE
It
in
really
high school.
does. Like, it really seems like high school stuff. But again, that also doesn't come off great, right? Because
No.
now you're coming off immature, which
Mhm.
means most of your basis is coming off immature. No matter if you mean this to be great or to be a good thing or not.
And you're supposed to be the OG.
Right. You're supposed to be the mature one. We're supposed to look at you as the one to lead the rest of these girls, or these women, I should say. And honestly, the comparison I always make is, like, you hear guys like Charles Barkley and Kenny and all these guys talk about how much money these guys make now compared to what they made back in the day, and how the effort levels aren't there. That's kind of what my point is here. If we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark coming in as the, lack of a better term, I know this is a bad place to put her, but the Michael Jordan of the WNBA.
Yeah, the savior.
Did Michael make a ton of money outside of his shoe deal? Not really. Not in his basketball career. No, not anywhere compared to what guys make today. You are just in the bad era of it. It's unfortunate, I realize, but you're in the early era. So unfortunately, you're in the era where a lot of these athletes aren't going to get paid that well because the league's not making the money to pay you. You can't demand from something that is empty. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you wait 2, 3, 4, or 2 or 3 years, let's not even say 4 or 5. That's kind of ridiculous. That's down the stretch. But I do agree with you. The expansion is kind of it's a weird time to do that as well. I'm not giving them any grace in that area. Although, like you just said, Sparky, what's the easiest way to make more money? Expand. Put your stuff in different cities. Make more money off those cities too. Like, I think you just, I'm not going to sit here and say that they have everything figured out. We've never seen a sports organization outside of the NFL ever have anything always figured out. But I think that in this situation, I understand both sides. I agree that the women should be paid, but I also agree that the owners don't really have a whole ton to give away right now.
Yes.
So let's find a good middle ground. And I agree. I get that the contracts coming up on the players union and stuff like that. Put a 2-year stamp on it. Say, we're going to sit here and wait and see how this all develops. Continue to grow the brands. and see where you're at in 3-4 years. Because I agree with you. Like we've doubled it in 1 year. Imagine what you can get in 3. And then all of you are going to start getting, well, I won't say NBA style contracts. We're not going to see $100 million contracts going to women's basketball players just yet. However, 10s, 20s, absolutely. 100%. The Caitlin Clarks of the world are most likely going to be getting the $50 million contract at some point in their careers just because of how much they bring into the league. But that's why I think that if you just stall this out just for a little bit, but I don't know. I think what really set me off, because I didn't have a problem with the t-shirts when they were warming up. It was the
Neither did I.
aftermath.
Yeah.
It was Kelsey Plum saying, well,
It was
nobody
stupid
on Team
drama.
Caitlin was there for it. I was like, so what are you saying? Like, what are you trying to do, Kelsey? I think the best idea for you guys as a league, especially as players, would to be unify yourselves, not isolate each other and make each other look stupid. You
Yeah,
know,
what do you want to go after the person that's building the money?
exactly. It's the same situation we keep bringing up every time Caitlin Clark gets a little too much grief or gets beat up by these women. It's like, I get it. Don't get me wrong, but you're like, I don't understand why you cannot unify yourselves. If you guys want to make money together, or at least you want to make money, period.
You want Caitlin behind you.
Exactly.
You jackass.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, you're really going to throw away the piece that doubled the net worth? Like, I do not understand.
I mean, if
But-
anybody should be upset and want more money, it's Caitlin.
Yeah.
I mean, she just signed a 4-year deal, her rookie deal, which is 4 years for $338K.
Jeez.
And
Not
Kelsey,
even $400K.
Kelsey over here making a 1-year deal for $202K. So get out of here.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I get it. You guys deserve more money. I'm all for these women getting paid more money. I
Build
really
them.
am.
They will come.
Exactly. Let it happen, though. You can't just demand it from an empty glass. Like, wait for the glass to get full, child. I'm going to call her that because, honestly, that's what I heard in the post-game presser. That was a
Yep.
child.
Yep.
For you to throw the entire other team under the bus when this was a last second, you said it yourself, this was a last second thing that was a day of situation where they're probably already in competitive mode where they're thinking, we're not going to meet up with the other team before the game. What are you talking about? There's no point in doing that. They had no clue what you had planned. But then you're going to throw them under the bus saying, well, they had nothing to do with it, but they just threw on the t-shirts. Kelsey, really? Now I'm seeing why you and Darren Waller didn't work out. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. Now I see it. I do. Because if that's the level of immaturity that you're working with, God only knows what I could see at home.
I did watch the 3-point contest, and I barely got through that. The All-Star game was horrible.
Wow.
I'll just say
How
it.
was the 4-point shot? Did that actually work
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
in your opinion?
I know
Like,
the girl that got MVP, which was
Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu.
Nafisa.
Oh, okay.
She
Vaguely.
she hit 4-pointers,
Nice.
and they were
See,
utilizing it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, once you put it in basketball, I know a lot of traditionalists are like, no, we can't add another point, which I agree. Like, a 4-point play is kind of a
Silly.
ridiculous thought. But once you put it in there,
The announcers were saying,
Right.
dude, we should have this full season.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it might be a good addition to the game a little bit for you.
And
I
keep
don't
you
know.
away from the NBA.
I don't know if I don't think the NBA needs it because then you're
No.
gonna have Steph Curry's just walking up, just launching stuff from
That
the
won't
label
help
on
the league
purpose.
at all right now.
No, well, that not even just the league, but that won't help young players. Because
I
think
mean,
about it,
just-
dude. Like the adaptation of the game from the last couple years. I mean, like every kid went from wanting to be Michael and Kobe to now wanting to be Steph. So everybody's shooting threes. That if you're not shooting a 3-pointer, you're not playing basketball. And that's just a weird way to look at it. But if you
put
move
a
it to a
4-pointer in
4-pointer in there,
Yeah,
oh my God, these kids will be shooting from the label all game. It will never it'll look ugly, but it is what it is. That's how basketball works. We evolve with the times. But we got to take a break real quick, pay some bills. On the other side, we'll talk about the British Open and Scottie Scheffler's absolute dominance out there. This is the early bird special on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. And don't forget, go follow us on all social media as well and subscribe on YouTube. You can watch us on video every single day from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on ESPN Bakersfield. We'll be right back.
We did start something new over the weekend. We got a new PBS playlist that we're going to share with our listeners. And I sent them out to 5 or 6 buddies of the show. And so you're going to hear some crazy stuff.
I'm gonna
That
throw out.
wouldn't come out of my playlist either. So
We'll throw it out on the social media and stuff like that too. Allow you guys to add on. Now, also remember, it has to be clean, or at least
Yes.
have a clean version.
you got to find it.
I got to be able to find a clean version too.
That was like 80% of them I had to find.
I
clean stuff.
know, and I get it because nobody ever thinks about it and just says, "Oh, I never listen to the clean version." I know this is radio, so YouTube may be okay with it at points, but this is radio, so we have to be at least clean at the very least.
In radio news wise, the Greg Kerr show will return today.
Yes,
so
it
everybody
will.
just calm down.
All of your local coverage will be starting up again today at its usual time, 12 to 2. So Greg and Kyle, I believe, will be joining him as well. Will return to the radio waves today here at ESPN Bakersfield. Let's talk a little British Open, because out in Ireland, as I said last week, I mean, you slept. I watched Scotty Scheffler, the god of golf.
I watched the first day.
Again, I was just happy to see some guys up there that aren't usually up there. I've
Was
obviously
it
been
top
very
3 or 4 All-Americans?
Yeah. I mean, and
take
surprising enough, because I mean, last week we're talking to our guy Bolt Brady about how well these Irish and English guys were going to do in this tournament. Rory had a pretty solid showing, but just couldn't keep up with a guy like Scotty, who ended 14 under. I know Lee was up there as well in double digits. I was pleasantly surprised to see Ricky Fowler make a run at this, although he had a rough round 2 and 3. He still stayed at least in the top 10 of the leaderboard for the vast majority of the tournament. Biggest talking point, though, of the week, outside of Scotty Scheffler just not finding fulfillment anymore in winning, which is
That's a good problem
baffling to
have.
me in professional sports, is baffling to me.
Tired of winning.
I just, to hear any athlete, I know he's a golfer, I get it, and a lot of you are listening to my voice right now saying golf isn't a sport. It is. Go out and play 18 holes without a caddy and come talk to me. Without a caddy and without a cart, by the way. But back to the point at hand here, the fact that this guy is able to go around and just say, what's the point? What's the point of winning? Like, it just,
That makes me not want to watch it.
No, trust me, it makes me want to watch it.
I
but
tried to watch
the
the first day and I was like, I can't do this all weekend.
Well, again, I get it. You're not a golfer. I'm not a golfer either. But
I'm like that. I mean, it's one of those things. It's fun to play.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
When I'm watch it all day.
When I'm at the beach, I could throw anything on the television and not give a dang.
Yeah, but you're at the beach.
Exactly.
Well, first of all, with that big ass smile.
Exactly.
And second of all, it's like it's one of those sports I could check in here and there.
It also doesn't help that this was on at 1 and 4 o'clock in the morning over the weekend. So, but regardless, Bryson DeChambeau was the talk of at least Sunday, shooting a 64 to pull himself back up there. He had a really rough round 1. 2, 3, and 4 were outstanding. He could have at least been in the top 3 had he had a good round 1. It just keeps bringing up the possibility, though, or at least the question, are these Live Tour guys even competitive anymore? Because every time we talk about them, they're falling short or something in the PGA Tour. So do you think them being away from the tour for so long has really just not destroyed their competitive edge, but at least given the edge back to the PGA golfers, no matter how good they are, how high they rank on the world rankings, I should say?
What was the closest Live player?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me find out.
And while he does that, I can try to break it down. I watched the first day, and then the announcers kept saying, when he has the lead after 2 days, he always wins. So I went back to, every few hours I'd check the leaders, and I was like, oh, it doesn't look close. And then I heard the play of Scheffler saying it's just too easy. I don't know if that's a good thing for him just being cocky, or it's just the lack of competition.
Okay, so Live Tour golfers, the highest was Bryson, who was who was 9 under at tied for 10th. Tyron Hatton was 7 under. Dustin Johnson was 6 under. John Rahm, who was one of the high favors to win this tournament this year, was 3 under at tied for 34th, and it gets lower from there.
Whew.
So nobody reached anywhere inside the 10 except for Bryson DeChambeau.
So as more of a golf guy, I mean, do you think the Live competition is just fell off, or
I
if
don't
it's
know if
just
it's
the leadership of Scheffler's skills.
no. Well, Scheffler is a bad person to compare it to because at
Yeah.
this point, Scotty Scheffler is just dominating. It's
And
not
after you
gonna
answer that,
change.
I'm going to bring up a question because I
Uh,
heard on Unsportsmanlike, I figured you'd like.
Absolutely. I don't think it's necessarily that they're losing their edge, but I think it's a genuine comparison of the Live plays 3 days for their tournaments, PGA plays 4. And again, it goes back to what I said a little bit earlier for people who don't believe golf is a sport. 3 days straight of golf where you're having to walk the entire course and you're having to deal with all the things pretty much by yourself with obviously your caddy, but you don't have a cart, you barely have any other help. Like it does take a toll on the body after a while. It's probably the least strenuous sport, but it does take a toll. And when you really stretch that out an extra day and you're not really physically prepared for that, plus, a lot of the Live Tour golf courses are much easier than the PGA Tours. So obviously, in that area, competitive wise, you would have a little bit of a dulling. But I think it's more that these guys are so used to playing 3 days that they can't necessarily pull it together for that fourth one. Look at Bryson. Every time we talk about Bryson, one of these majors, he is 3 good rounds, 1 bad round, and that 1 bad round is what keeps him out of the win. If you really look at it. 9 under, Scotty won at 14 under. If he had turned around that first day where he shot, I believe, like a 70, 73, 74, he drops that down anywhere close to where he was the rest of the weekend, he would have beat Scotty. That's at least a 4 or 5 swing turnaround. So that puts him at anywhere close to the top 1 or 2. So if you have that, just I guess stamina is the best way to put it when it comes to golf. But if you have the stamina to go that 4th day as a Live golfer, you're going to be successful in the PGA. But a lot of these guys, because they don't play that 4th day, I think are just getting used to only playing 3 and they can't pull it together for that 4th
final
one.
day.
I genuinely believe that. I know it's as simple as that. Like I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's the dumbest explanation," and it probably is. Don't get me wrong.
And it's the same
But
thing I heard this morning.
Sometimes sports are that simple.
Uh-huh.
It really does boil down to that. I think we overthink a lot of these things. I really do. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, the day was just bad or the course didn't play well for them." All of those are factors too. Don't get me wrong. But I think it really does boil down to as simple as that, is the vast majority of these Live guys only play 3 days instead of 4. They're used to only playing that much. And competitively, although they're playing against each other, the courses themselves they're playing on aren't as tricky. So it really is a compile of different things. But I think the major thing is the extra day. I think the extra day does get
fatigued.
to you. Yeah.
We had a couple texts regarding golf. Said golf's turning into Happy Gilmore. Do you guys hear the people yelling and heckling during these live events?
Yes, I do. And honestly, I'm kind of okay with it. Hear me out on this, because golf gets a lot of grief for being snooty and just proper and all that type of stuff. It's kind of boring, as Sparky said earlier. Why not? Now, obviously, you can't do it during certain situations, the backswing, the foreswing, stuff like that. But if somebody shanks a shot, I'm expecting the crowd to say, "Oh, what was that? Like, you're a professional." Like, you know what I mean? Like, that'd be awesome. I thought you were going, when you said Happy Gilmore, I thought we were talking about Wyndham Clark, who did great over the weekend, by the way. I think he ended at 11 under, surprisingly, after all the turmoil of being banned from Oakmont and all that type of stuff after destroying his locker after losing. But
that's that guy.
Yeah, that's the same guy. That's why I'm like, I thought that's where they were going, because I didn't know if he had acted out and I missed it.
I did hear the birds, Eagles, birds, or some go birds or something. Guy was yelling it and screaming, and it just remembered me of WWE. It's like heckling. But the other one says Scotty was dominant, and to be honest, the course played well as well.
Absolutely. And again, it's Scotty. Like, I don't think I've seen a golfer this dominant since Tiger.
And see, that was the question, because Unsportsmanlike asked the same thing, and they bickered for 30 minutes this morning talking about it's way too early to even say the name Tiger with Scheffler, and the other ones are saying, well, when this is what we have to watch,
I don't think it is, dude.
Scheffler is the most dominant player that they've seen since
Tiger Woods.
Honestly,
I get why they say it's too early, because just a couple years ago we were saying the same thing about Jordan Spieth. And Jordan has had a tremendous just downfall since then. But Scotty Scheffler, in my opinion, I mean, again, unless this just absolute non-willingness to win ends up biting him in the butt. Eventually, he just gets bored and lets other people win for a while. This dude could be the most dominant golfer we've seen in quite some time. And to be honest, he's now 3 legs into the Grand Slam. He just needs one more. I don't think this is too early. I think genuinely the sustained dominance that Scottie Scheffler has shown, his ability to just show that it's not just luck. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of times you can just wrap it up to, a lucky bounce or any of those types of things. I don't think that's the case with Scottie. He's shown on multiple occasions, especially in multiple interviews, that he has a golf mind and he really makes adjustments on the court based on what he believes is the best idea for him and what his caddy tells him and like the best moves that way forward. So he knows what he's doing on the course. I think this is just a case of we found a golf prodigy that no one was suspecting. And he has just become this winnable, just golden god, as I keep saying, of golf. And I honestly, at this point, I don't know if anybody's good enough to keep up with him. I think there will be guys that come up in certain tournaments, sure, and beat him, because that always happens in golf. It happens in sports all the time. It's the whole point. It's never a for sure thing.
Just have a good weekend.
But we're talking about a guy who's now had four PGA wins this year alone. That's more than the Colorado Rockies have in series wins this year. That's saying something.
Ouch.
Like, I mean, I know that's saying more against the Rockies than it is for Scotty.
The
But
last text says Bryson won a major last year.
yes, he did. Again, that's what I'm saying. Bryson has had his moments, and he's the only live golfer that has really shown to be sustainably good. Because Jon Rahm and Dustin Johnson have died since started making their money. Let's be honest. They are still Jon Rahm and Dustin Johnson. Everybody still has them as favorites, and they're great golfers. But what have the live golfers really done since this entire thing has become a thing, and since that entire group has become a thing?
Get paid.
That's the only
That's
thing.
about it.
Which, I mean, to be honest, that's why they left in the first place, was to go get paid. So everybody won, I guess, in that situation. But I genuinely believe that the endurance and the stamina factor of golfers really does factor in for that, at least one of the 4 rounds in golf in these PGA Masters. Or I'm sorry, these PGA Majors. So I think that's just my easy explanation of why some of these live guys don't do as well.
You don't think it's too early?
For Scotty? No.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe this is probably the right time to start talking about this, especially if he gets that 4th leg of the Grand Slam. We have to. You have to talk about this, because as much as we love Tiger and as dominant as he was, I think everybody was really hoping the next Tiger was going to be Charlie Woods. Could potentially still be Charlie, who's an absolute stud at his age as well. But we cannot deny, we cannot ignore that Scottie Scheffler is doing some amazing things in golf right now. And again, he's so good that he's bored of it.
Must be nice.
That's exactly my thought. Like, I have never heard of a professional athlete looking at a camera during an interview and saying, "What's the point in winning?" That's how bored he is of winning. Somebody step up and actually give this guy a challenge, please, before he retires.
Feel free to call or text in anytime, 661-842-2000. We are the Early Bird Special. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. It's the early bird special. It's breaking news at the start of the show. Will Levis of the Tennessee Titans will be out for the entire season. He is going to be getting shoulder surgery. He'll be leaving out of the roster in the future. I think he's personally played his last game. Yeah, to be honest with you, but let's see how Cam Ward works out for the Titans this year because Jerry's still out. We've got to figure this out of who is going to be rookie standout this season. A lot of their second rounders signed over the weekend. Still nothing for Shamar Stewart, but at this point, I don't think anybody's surprised by that. If they get the second round draft pick to actually sign before the first round one,
They did.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
He was one of the few. I mean, they started signing right after. I know the Dolphins got theirs, big lineman, and I think it was last time I saw it was down to 18.
Mhm.
But still, he's the sole first rounder that hasn't signed.
And I'm not even gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get into it. We already talked about it. Let's talk quarterbacks. We never talk quarterbacks, right? Will Levis obviously being out means rookie Cam Ward will be the number one quarterback in Tennessee starting next season. How do you feel about that, Spark? Do you think he's going to be able to lead these Titans into anything positive in this season? I mean, you are in a kind of weak AFC South.
That's the one guy that I'm surprised we're not hearing more about, because usually we hear about the first pick, and that's all we talk about.
Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Probably a good thing for him.
I think so too.
But the Titans, I'm still on the fence with Tennessee. I don't know if they'll take a step or two back with, new coaching. I mean, it's just not a lot to be excited for aside from Cam, and I'm hoping that he comes out and surprises a lot of people. I'm also hearing a lot of people that's saying that he's undersized and he's not NFL ready. But I mean, at least his backup's gone. I mean, sadly, I looked at the depth chart. The other guys are Brandon Allen and Tim Doyle. So,
I mean, again, I think he's going to be fine. And I think you not hearing anything about Cam Ward is actually a good thing. I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think a texter had texted in asking the same question.
I still got him at 5 wins.
See, I'm going to put them even higher than that because right now, I think that with you being established, at least at the quarterback position, I would put you over teams like the Colts because until I see the Colts actually establish something with a quarterback, I can't really rely on you. Obviously, I believe in Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars to at least turn something into an 8-9 or a 9-8 season, I would hope. But the Titans have a good shot here to at least get, I would say, 6 to 7 games. I mean, I'd have to look at their entire schedule this year in order to determine that. But Cam Ward not being talked about might be a good thing because I feel like that means that things are going according to plan. And they are not surprised by his skill level or anything that he's doing on the field right now. I mean, when you hear certain stories like Shedeur Sanders and all these other guys get talked about, it's because Shedeur is actually fighting for a job.
Yeah, and I think, having that last name, Shedeur
obviously
pretty much shadowed the whole draft. So, I mean, we're going to hear a lot more about NFL and a lot of these rookies in here this week and probably the next week as camps are all starting this week. I'm not sure because just there's a lot of holes on that team. And Jacksonville, I think, is still in the middle of the pack. I would probably agree with you with the Colts. I think Daniel Jones is going to have a better year than we're expecting, but I still don't think it's something to write home about.
See, I don't expect much from Daniel Jones. If
Neither
you
do I,
to us
but I
for a
think
long time,
Anthony Richardson kind of let that bar real low.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. It's like that there's really not much to build on at the quarterback position in Indy. Unless Daniel Jones becomes a quarterback that no one knew that he could be, because I've lost all faith in Daniel Jones as a starting quarterback a long time ago. I do not believe Daniel Jones is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think he's a solid backup quarterback in the NFL and could potentially come in as like a wildcat or a scat guy because he is very fast and he can run the football for dang sure. But throwing a football and actually leading your team, and I mean, from what I have seen, I wouldn't pick him. But if you disagree with me, feel free to text in 661-842-2000. But if I'm looking at the Tennessee Titans versus the Colts, I honestly, at least in that area, would believe that the Titans are in a better spot because Cam at least looks like he's competent at the quarterback position. And until I am proven differently, at least in the size category, I'm going to hold off on saying he's too small. We've seen small quarterbacks have success in the NFL. Drew Brees and Russell Wilson being two of the main ones that you have to talk about. As long as he is accurate, he can lead a team and he could fit balls into tight situations that you need him to in late in games specifically. That's all you need from your quarterback. If he could put you in winning situations, then as the Tennessee organization would probably hope that this guy could do, I think he's going to put him in winning, or at least put him in a situation to win more football games than not this year.
Keep him in games.
Yeah. And I think the Colts are going to have a lot bigger issues than they realize at the quarterback position, especially if Anthony Richardson does not work out, because I don't think Daniel Jones is going to be that guy.
Yeah, and I think AR is probably, I would say the same thing about him.
100%. Now, another quarterback that everybody's talking about who's technically on his rookie year because he never played last year, but JJ McCarthy has been all over the news because everybody wants to know how good he's going to be in an offense that was absolutely studly last year, led by Sam Darnold. I mean, from what we heard last season during this time, before the injury and all that, they were saying he was looking pretty good. If I remember correctly, they said that he was going to be pretty dang accurate, and they were expecting him to be as successful as he was in Michigan, which is tall order. What do you feel about this kid? Do you think
I like JJ?
I think he's going to be fine. But
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
I think fitting in that offensive scheme and having, Addison and Justin Jefferson and, a team that's kind of built offensively and, Flores and that defense, that they're always going to be the top 10 defense in there as long as Flores is there. And I love Van Ginkel. I love a lot of those guys on the defensive side. I think JJ will look a lot better than what people are expecting. And having that year off, yeah, he was building through or dealing with an injury. And I think having a coach backing you, enough to get rid of their starting quarterback and lean on you for this year, I'm looking forward to seeing JJ.
Honestly, I think the coach is the biggest part of it, right? I think Kevin O'Connell is the perfect coach to bring JJ in as a quarterback-minded guy and somebody who just puts the offense in the right situation for his quarterback to be successful. You saw it last year with Sam Darnold, who, as much as I love Sam Darnold, USC quarterback, the vast majority of his career, at least with the Jets, was awful. But we always say if you played for the Jets or the Browns, I guess we can't give you any grief because you did everybody a service. You took a job that nobody wants.
Took the hits
for us. I appreciate that about you. But I mean, being able to use a guy like Sam Darnold, who I think we're going to find out this year is probably a B quarterback, somebody who's a solid starter, but maybe more of a just average guy that could lead you somewhere into the playoffs, but not the Super Bowl kind of a thing. I think he can turn guys like that into A+ S tier quarterbacks. So I think JJ is in a great situation, not only to develop his game, but to look good right away. Because, and I mean, you all obviously mentioned as well, you have the number one receiver in the NFL. When you have Justin Jefferson
make
on
it
the
look
team,
real good.
Yeah, you could throw a ball to him anywhere in the vicinity, he's going to catch it. Same with Addison when you can put him in the right situations. I know Addison's going to be dealing with a suspension here pretty soon, though, because of the DUI situation he's under. But Jefferson being your main target, and honestly having a head coach like Kevin O'Connell, I cannot see JJ McCarthy's career, at least the start of it here, going anywhere but up. I really can't. So for a lot of people, I know there's a lot of questions go around about the Vikings. I don't know if you take a step back. I think you're just still at the same spot. I genuinely do.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing.
I think JJ McCarthy starts out as a B-level quarterback, can develop into an A or an S with the right situations put around him. But as of right now, I would put JJ in the same conversation as Sam Darnold in terms of skill level, at least. So I don't think that there's
Who's over in Seattle, right?
Yes, he'll be with the Seahawks. Right. And again, that's another situation where you could sit there and say, God only knows what's going to go on with them this year. But when it comes to the Vikings, I know there's a lot of Vikings fans that are here and a lot of Vikings fans that are listening to me right now. Personally, I think you guys are still contenders. But we will see what we will see going into the season with JJ McCarthy's technical rookie year. Do you think that he will contend at least for, I guess, rookie of the year, since they'll probably put him in the category since he didn't play last year?
He should. I mean, he's got a great team around him, and like you both said, I mean, both of the coaches, I like Minnesota's coaches. I just think it'll just be how quick he can step in and shake off the injury. Yeah, I wouldn't put him in, Super Bowl contenders quite yet until we see
So-
some tape, but I think they should be fighting for that division.
Interesting thought that just popped in my head before we go to break. You brought up the injury. If he bounces back and has a great season this year, do you think that would put him at least, I would say at the top. I would say either at the top or in second place of the quarterbacks of his draft class. Because, I mean, you look at, you got Jaden, Caleb, and all these other guys that were in that class that are talked about all the time. Would JJ having a great year this year going in put him right at the top of that class as well?
Yeah,
Or at least for mental fortitude's sake, I would
especially
say.
over Caleb. I mean, if he comes out and swinging and Caleb, doesn't progress,
Mhm.
I think he would be right in that top of that division
Mhm.
or that talk, anyways.
But say Caleb has a good year. Let's say both of them have a solid year. Would you still put the two, like, would you put JJ over Caleb just because he had that 1 year where he was injured?
That'll be tough because then we'll go back into the conversation of, well, can he do it more than the third year or the
Right.
second for him?
Right.
So I mean, it'll be in the conversation definitely, and I'm more expecting. My eyes are on Jaden just because how much.
Sophomore slump's a real thing.
Yeah,
It is
and
100% a real thing.
I would think it's going to happen more to Caleb than Jaden, but I could be way wrong just because of the coaching changes. I know he's young, and it is a lot to ask for a quarterback to come out and look like he had the necessities to be a solid quarterback, and then you switch it all up.
Mhm.
And he lost a couple receivers. I love Rome, so I think if Caleb and Rome can click again,
I said that last year. I was like, dude, if you're a fantasy football guy and you're looking for a good wide receiver quarterback
I
tandem
got
to put
Rome
together,
so late. I was so happy about
Rome
that.
and Caleb was one of those I had last year. I was like, oh, that could be a really good pairing. But it just didn't end up working like we thought it would. I think a lot of the targets ended up going to Keenan Allen and a lot of these other guys as well. Plus, the offense just looked awful. But I think Johnson coming in is going to change that. Let's take a break real quick, though, because we have to pay some bills. On the other side, we'll get into that and a lot of other things in the NFL. Who's going to go up? Who's going to go down? And we have a couple fantasy football things that we'll get to as well. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Join the flock?
Join the flock.
Is that what we're doing now?
I did.
Okay, cool. I mean, I can dig it, I suppose.
I dig it.
Welcome back to the early bird special. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, have no idea what we're talking about. We have a liner from our guy here that has deemed our fans the flock, which honestly I can get behind, I guess, but I think we're gonna have to get some copyright stuff there because I'm pretty sure the Ducks do something along that lines as well. However, before we get to a break and we get to our guy Tyson Hayes on the other side, gotta talk some comedy. Let's talk about the sophomore slump a little bit because I am a firm believer that this is an actual thing that happens to every NFL player. Personally, I believe it's because you finally have a whole year of tape on a guy and you can deduce how their tendencies in a game with a full season of play. So for guys like Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, I do agree with you, Spark. I think they're going to take a step back because obviously every team is now going to have a whole year of tape. I think that's also why certain guys, Patrick Mahomes, benefit because they never got that. Their rookie season, they sat behind somebody and they, developed a little bit, and the tape came out afterwards at a time where he's already a somewhat seasoned guy that knows how to adapt his game to every certain team, which you really don't figure out, I feel, in the NFL until year probably about 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts that are like the key contributors to a lot of these sophomore slumps?
I think it really is the placement. I think it's the team, the additions, the minded coaches. If you have a defensive minded coach, it usually takes a couple more years. I still think guys like Caleb and Jaden are a bit different than past quarterbacks we'd seen. I think definitely with Jaden, I think Jaden is in a good position, especially if they lock in Scary Terry before it's too late. But I think it'll benefit Caleb to have Johnson, and really what they built an offensive line of a wall.
Yes.
So I think that will help. Obviously, it's just tough because the team that they're on, Washington, Chicago, even if you wanted to throw in, JJ, even though it's his first year, but he's in a good situation. I think it's the situation that helps. We saw that with, players like Herbert and Tua. Tua was thrown in with a defensive minded coach that had no faith in him with no offensive line. And then we got to see the good Tua the next year. But then you saw the sophomore for him was the second year behind McDaniels. So, I mean, a lot of it will change. I think I have more into Jaden. I think Jaden is really gonna be put on a platform, and it's gonna be tough to perform into that. But I'm hoping. I mean, I always like to see the underdogs, like the Commanders, which we'll talk about later, but might not be the Commanders much longer.
Dan Quinn, always the underdog. Every single time he's a head coach, he's the underdog, and he always has a good team. Even when he was with Atlanta and they were killing it, they were still seen as underdogs.
But I mean, speaking of Atlanta, what do you think?
Penix?
Yeah.
I'm worried about it. I'm not going to lie to you. I am genuinely worried about the sophomore slump, especially in a volatile situation in Atlanta right now, because I genuinely believe we are one bad season away from Arthur Blank just saying, blow it up. Like, not with most of the players. Bijan ain't going nowhere. Drake London ain't going nowhere. But guys like Kyle Pitts and a lot of these other guys might be in trouble. We got to take a break real quick. Our guy Tyson Hayes will be on the other side. This is the Early Bird Special on ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special, Hour 2. We got our guy Tyson Hayes back in the building as he's got a new open mic night on Mondays we've got to talk about. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. You guys, nice to be back. Nice seeing you again.
Nice to see you too. Now, obviously, you had to move this thing around, but we got, what are we calling it now?
Made You Laugh
Mondays.
Yes, sir.
At the Firehouse on Rosedale.
That is correct.
So how can people get in? What's going on? What can they expect?
Well, I mean, I don't know what to expect every night, to be honest.
Fair.
I don't know what's going to happen tonight. It's been wild. I mean, this is going to be like number 6. And progressively, they've only gotten better. The first 1 or 2 we didn't really promote. So it was comics and then just word of mouth from the prior week, I would say.
Mhm.
And then it's only grown since then. I mean, and we had a packed house a week ago today.
Nice.
So
How do they
awesome.
set you guys up in there?
So if you're familiar with Firehouse Rosedale Station, there is, and you might not have noticed this if you've ever been in there, but there's like a mezzanine at the top. It's for like private parties. And
You know what? I've never been up there, but yeah, okay. Yeah, I know exactly what you're
yeah,
talking
not a
about.
lot of people have. And I talked them into letting me do the open mic up there. And I
Mhm.
was kind of unsure what might happen given there's a bowling alley and about 40 pool tables.
Right.
And then
Well, I was wondering that too. I was like, do you guys bleed over into them too?
okay, so not really. It's weird when you go down the stairs. About halfway through, you can hear this, depending if you're going up or down. It changes. Like you hear either upstairs what's going on upstairs, or you hear what's going on downstairs.
That's weird.
But
Okay.
I was up recently, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the power went out, and then kicked back on. And I was in the middle of some taboo topics, and so I just asked the audience. I was like, "Wait, where was I?" I wish I could say it on air, but I won't. I
Yeah.
refuse to. But it was either this or that. But the music downstairs wasn't on yet, and so like all the people ages 4 to 85 looked up and were like, "Oh," and then 15 of them ended up coming upstairs.
That's exactly what I think.
Nice.
It's like
So it
3
worked
people
out,
down.
yeah.
So
That helped.
that's kind of why I was curious if you guys bleed over, because I'm like, if anybody's there just bowling and they hear you guys cracking jokes upstairs, I'm sure somebody's gonna ask.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So that's a really great location. That's interesting though. I've never actually been upstairs, so I don't know
Mhm.
the sound change and all that type of stuff. So
Well,
that's really weird.
You're off working a little bit. 7 p.m. tonight, man. We'll have you up there. We'll see. you.
Absolutely. I hope so.
Yeah, get him
Any
on.
Monday, really.
Get him on there.
On there? No, I
Yeah, you
I
go
got
up there.
no set up
I'll
there.
get you 5
Absolutely
minutes.
not. Absolutely not. It's the same kind of typical format for open mics for you though, or are we doing something different with this one?
No, it's the same. It's going to be your standard open mic, right? You're going to have comics go up there and get the chunk of time that's given to them. Typically, it's going to be 4 to 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Some guys that are working on something coming up, they might get 10 minutes. But it's the same. It's just there's no additional hoop. It's just open mic. So yeah, it's just traditional open mic.
Okay. And then drinks and food and all that stuff,
Yeah,
obviously provided
absolutely.
by Firehouse, I would assume.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah, we
some
got a
good
gallon.
food.
Yeah, good
That's some
food.
good food up there.
Cheap pitchers, beer.
That's what I'm
It's a
saying.
good time. Yeah, and then there's a lady that goes up and down the stairs for you. So you take care of them. They'll take care of you.
Right
Fantastic.
on.
Is there like an actual do they have to pay to get in, or is it just
No,
first come, first serve kind of a thing?
Thank you for letting me bring that up. It's absolutely free.
No,
Come to
nothing?
nothing, man.
Huh?
Just the hike upstairs.
You can't beat that. Well, I mean, some people that's a cost in itself.
Yeah, right.
You talk to a lot of my friends, they hate stairs. so.
Well, we get you up there one time and you'll be fine. You'll be
Yeah.
set for the rest of the night.
Have a couple drinks, it's easier to fall down.
There you go. It doesn't hurt as bad.
It doesn't hurt that bad anymore.
But I mean, if somebody wants to test it out, I mean, how do they do they just get a hold of you on Instagram or
Yeah.
do
So
they show up a little early?
either way, I would say, I said it was a traditional open mic, but I'm a little lenient when it comes to being a host, because you go out of town and you've got hosts that know, 75% of the people they've never heard of before.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're looking at a clipboard. They're like, oh, in the hole is going to be so-and-so on deck. But right now we have this person, right? We're Bakersfield comedy scene. I know all the guys that are going to come out.
Mhm.
And so if you've got something going on, I'm going to definitely make sure I can squeeze you in the beginning or the end. Just we're going to make it so Bakersfield has the best show. And then when it comes to new guys, that you can reach out. Made You Laugh Mondays on Instagram.
Mhm.
Tyson Ha Ha Hayes on Instagram. Just show up if you need to. I'm gonna get you on stage. If you want to get up there and see what it's like, I'm gonna make sure you get on stage.
Fantastic. Now,
Well, see, Anthony had told us about it last Thursday
That's what I
when
was
he
about
was
to bring
talking about his open mic on Thursdays,
Mhm.
and he was telling us, you need to go out there and see Tyson in the open mic show. So are you performing every week
Yes. I
while
started
running
off-
and doing everything?
Yeah, just starting it off a little bit, and then here and there in between, if there's something, if I want to take a couple minutes in between some comics, I'll do that.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's loose. It's a loose open mic.
okay. How long do these usually last for you guys?
Well, the first couple, just us comics, and we did some extra time. I
Mhm.
would say about an hour and a half, push an hour 45.
Okay,
just
so
taking
it's
our time.
not, yeah, because I think a lot of people are thinking they're going to an open mic and it's going to be like a 3-hour thing they have to commit to. And it's like, no, it's a good amount of time. Don't get me wrong, but it's a solid like date night kind of a thing. I would think.
Absolutely, it's absolutely and my kind of date night too. It's free, right?
Absolutely.
And you get, hey baby,
You're
I'm taking you
free.
to a
You
show.
can get drunk. You don't have to worry about it. You can get the Uber ride home. Everybody's
Exactly.
happy.
That's the truth. We start at 7, and typically we end around 9. And if it's a good night with a lot of comics, 9:30.
Mhm.
A lot of interaction with the crowd. You know, like I said, it's grown each time.
Mhm.
I've had a 8-year-old and I've had a 4-year-old.
Really?
So that's it's you gotta, you know, as a host, I just go up early and I'm like, oh, I can't help but notice there's a 4-year-old. Is everything okay? If the adults are fine with it, I'm not going to tell them,
Right.
you know. And so then I'll just throw out a couple testers, and if nobody reacts to it, then the rest of the comics know it's open game for
Yeah.
everything. So it's anybody's welcome. It's up to you as the parent, but it's an adult show.
That's what I
It's an
always
adult
laugh
show.
at when it comes to this stuff. Everyone's like, "Oh, you don't want to, ruin the kids' minds." It's like, nah, they're pretty much
They have the
already
internet.
in it. Yeah,
Exactly.
you're 4 to 5 when they can get on the internet, they'll figure all this
Yeah.
out themselves.
You'll hear it.
That's wild. But okay, cool. So starting tonight, obviously 7:00,
Mhm.
everybody will be there. Hopefully, I will be able to get out there as well.
I
But
can't believe it's been 6 weeks already.
I know.
I know.
I was
me
like,
either. It's going
where the
quick.
hell have I been? I just heard about this. I was like, cool, we're going to get him back on. We could have got you on a month ago.
I appreciate you having me now. We'll
Absolutely.
get the word out.
We got to talk football though, obviously,
Yeah.
as we do every time. How are you feeling about
Uh,
the Chargers now?
Well, I'm trying to look at the silver lining. You guys, I
Fireworks?
get my new information. Yeah, I get my information from you guys, and of course, I see that Najee Harris. I don't know what he did to his eye. I haven't heard updates, but
It looks like you just caught a firework in the
Yeah,
eye.
I think that's essentially what ended up happening. Is somebody was being a dummy with a firework, blew his hand off, and Najee ended up taking some shrapnel.
yeah, it's
but-
unfortunate. It's good having when we signed him. I was excited, right? We're
Yeah.
gonna have this
As
dual
I was just about to
backfield.
say, we were talking about it extensively,
know.
how excited you were.
And it could have been great. And just coming into the season with the rookie that we just drafted, Mamarian Hampton,
Hampton,
and
yeah.
it was like, okay, that'll be good. You have a coach in the backfield for him, the guy that's been a vet in the league, and then I'm looking forward to that backfield. And then he hurts his eye. And then my silver lining thought is Mario Hampton coming in and being like a Kareem Hunt right
Yeah.
out the gate, right? Just a workhorse, just 55 times a game touching the ball. Maybe not. And I'm just saying it might turn out.
I said the
beneficial.
same thing though. It's like knowing Harbaugh and how he usually coaches a team, he could run the ball about 80 times and be happy with it.
Absolutely.
The other thing I had to ask you too about the offense, obviously Justin Herbert was on this short list of top 10 quarterbacks going into next year. How do you feel about that? I'm starting to believe though that the hype train is going to start dying here in the next year if he doesn't produce something.
Oh, you think so? Now he's great. He's
I'm just saying he was supposed to be the Patrick Mahomes killer, and it has yet to happen.
yeah. Well, we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, right? Three-peater. Like this is not three-peater,
Look,
but he's
man, at this point, we're in the middle of Game of Thrones. The king has been hit by the boar. The Chiefs are dying out, and he's just waiting for the Chargers to come in and finally put the stake in.
And I think that we're going to see that in the next year or two. It's hard to say they're going to come out and win the champ because there's so many elite quarterbacks with so many great teams. But the Chargers have been a contender for a long time, and we're putting the pieces together.
Mhm.
And Herbert is definitely a piece that any team would want.
Well, then-
don't be crazy. Not like
A couple days before training camp, then Mike Williams retires.
yeah,
Yep.
that's a bummer. We
Do you
just got
think
him
the
back.
Keenan Allen thing is got some legs to it?
I don't know. It's
You going back to the X?
I know, right? That's we're going to pull him back. We're going to pull. It's kind of concerning not having that deep threat, and I feel like they're going to fill the hole with the person that's supposed to. We've got Lad McCon. We got a
McConley,
great,
yeah.
We have a great setup. We just need that deep threat that we had, and I mean, there's plenty of
Free agent
talent
receivers.
pool to draw from. Exactly,
What was it, Amari Cooper we were talking
I was just about to say,
about?
it's like, would you prefer a guy like Amari Cooper to Keenan Allen then? If you're thinking you guys need more of a deep threat, because Keenan's not really a deep threat.
He's not. Well, and he's gotten older, and he's probably lost a couple steps. He was great back in the day, but he's proven. Mari Cooper, he is too. But it seems like there's some baggage with him for some reason. Everywhere he goes, there's issues, or he doesn't. I don't know if it's
He
the
doesn't
locker room.
produce like
Yeah,
you would
like
hope
he has
would.
that
He
ability.
has
you can
never
tell.
really played to the same level he
No.
was when he was a Raider.
Exactly.
And even when he was with Dallas, I mean, I was saying the same thing. Is like CeeDee Lamb was more the star that everybody
Mhm.
wanted at the wide receiver position than Cooper was.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I think that benefited Cooper being receiver too when he was with Dallas.
Yeah.
But who was he with last year? Was
Buffalo.
it Cleveland? Oh, it was Buffalo. And he was
he was
nothing.
with Cleveland for a while too, but he was with Buffalo for
Mhm.
a short time as well. I don't know if that was last year, but again, he's bounced around since the Raiders. Has never really been the number one guy that he was for them. So
Yeah.
But you're a Charger fan. I mean, do you think Herbert is a top 10 quarterback?
I mean, that's weird how you state that question.
I'm
Hey,
just
you're a
saying,
Charger fan. Is he good? It's like,
trust me, I take a lot of crap for wearing a
I
Tua stuff, so
know, dude.
don't worry about that.
I just don't know if we could put him in the top 10 anymore.
get
I
out of
really
it.
don't.
I was thinking top 5, 3. I mean,
Top
get-
5.
I'm just saying. I'm not being a homer. I'm not being.
Yeah,
this is an
you should.
unbiased opinion.
Where would you put him in the 5? Please explain. He
Is
ain't,
this
we
this-
just said,
Well, 'cause the
we
NFL
just said
okay.
Patrick Mahomes. So
okay,
we're,
so Mahomes is up there. Well, who else would be in the top 5? He's an elite
I
quarterback.
mean, going
I got
off that
4
list,
right now.
going off that
so
list
good
that we
5.
talked
so
about
hard
last,
5 he might
it was
be.
Mahomes,
Patrick, Josh, Lamar, Joe.
Yeah.
Burrow is 4. I don't care what people say.
He's a
I don't
good
think
quarterback.
Burrow's
Jaden
5.
Daniel was 5. Again, this is not the
Ooh.
ESPN list. This is just my top 5.
It's not a bad. So yeah, it's
Jaden
probably
Daniels,
on par.
CJ Stroud, Jordan Love.
Shouldn't be
I
in
mean,
there.
Matt Stafford
Stroud?
should be up
You know,
there as
CJ?
well. I'd put CJ over Justin right now.
These are great
CJ's
quarterbacks.
proven a little bit more.
We'll
I
just
don't
give it
know
a
about that
give it a
one.
year or two. Yeah, give it another year or two. Actually,
How
especially-
many years are we going to give the kid from Oregon?
I mean, how many years are you going to give Burrow?
Yeah,
Burrow's at least gotten to a Super Bowl.
But they always say that.
That's still
They've
more
gotten to a
success
Super Bowl,
than Justin
but that
has
was
gotten.
years ago.
Doesn't matter. That's still way more success than Justin has gotten.
way more success.
It is.
We'll see. Like when we go back to wide receiver, I feel like we're gonna plug in that position. It's gonna be a plug and play position.
Yeah.
It's gonna be someone not a lot of draw, not a lot of recognition, but we're gonna plug him in this year.
And that's a Chargers way.
It is.
There's
it really
always
is.
found receivers and gyms with the receiver position.
Oh, 100%. I never said that, but I'm just saying we were on the quarterback position.
I
not
just
the wide
don't-
I know. I
receivers.
just want to change this.
I
up
wouldn't
because
put him in the top
you're hard
5.
up.
I would
maybe-
definitely not have him in top 5.
Maybe at the end of the top 10, but he has an upside. I mean, he's got Harbaugh, and I think that'll benefit him. But that division is going to be tough. I mean, even if Mahomes takes a step back like he did last year, I think Bo Nix is kind of that hidden guy that no one's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's in that same situation as Herbert, where he's got a great quarterback-minded coach that can take him to that next step. But I think this year's got to be the year
Thank
for Herbert to do something or shut up.
I'm just
I
saying.
think it's gonna be.
We've been waiting so many years for Justin Herbert that he is literally aged out of acne.
Yeah, that's true. huh?
So how long are we waiting for him?
I've been waiting my whole Chargers career for Justin Herbert, so
Me
I can
too.
sit a couple more
I
years
get it.
waiting
Wait,
for
no,
him to
stop.
bloom. to
Y'all
the
had
beautiful.
Phillip Rivers. You had Drew Brees. You've had the quarterbacks.
We didn't have all the pieces, and now you're gonna be like, well, what about
You had
LaDainian
LT,
Tomlinson? What
you had
about
Chris
Lorenzo
Chambers,
Neal? What
you
about?
What else do you had Antonio Gates?
Hey, I blame
What else
Marty
do you need?
Schottenheimer. He didn't ride that horse all the way
You
through
had
the
Sean
playoffs.
Merriman. You
I
had stuff
know.
on the defense.
Those
I-
were
I
such
think-
good years. Those were such good.
I think if you got what you're going to get out of Herbert, it'll be this year because Harbaugh's had a year under him. He's already came out and said, I have to make him a Hall of Famer. And I think this is the year that they shut up or they actually do it.
He's gonna put up. I'm gonna tell you. That
I
right
think
now.
I think
Mark-
that you might be right.
Okay, let's make sure that we have this timestamp because we were going to talk about
I'll
top
cut the tape.
10, and
I'll
you
cut
just
the top
named off
tape.
your personal.
Five.
So this is
I
bold
gave
of you.
4. No, you said he was in the top 5 and have yet to put him
End of
on.
the
you
year,
said
end of the
5-3.
year, end of the year.
5-3, maybe in my top 10, maybe.
You guys are being real tough right now.
I'm just saying, I got a long list.
But I
of-
also
mean,
don't
I said
think Burrow's
Dak
top
Prescott
5.
could be up there if he can get this Cowboys offense around.
How
Dak
many
could
years
have-
are you going to give Dax?
Exactly.
I never said that he was going to win a Super Bowl.
You just brought Dax Prescott up,
You-
and he has been
no,
getting
no.
paid so much for doing so little.
I understand that,
most
but here's the thing: he'd still be in the top 10 and have probably a better statistical year than Justin.
So who's
You have to go on stage if this is wrong at the end of the year.
Okay,
Okay, 5 minutes if this is
Oh,
wrong. That's a good wager.
really?
at least that gives me time to make a set.
Yeah, you'll be fine, I'm sure. But I'm gonna get you up there because of that bet right
That's
there.
fine. I'll
Dax
do it.
Prescott, can we talk about this? Dax over.
No. I'm not
What are we-
sitting here saying that Dak Prescott's going to be a top 5 quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. That's not
Who's
get
your
crazy.
bottom 5? The first 5 you said. What about 6 through 10?
I
He gave
you
a few.
those.
Yeah, he gave a
Justin.
Dak's not
I'm
on
sorry. Jordan Love, CJ Stroud.
Oh, that was your list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I was going down the list here. I'm not lying on this one. I'd probably put Justin at 10 or 11, but he's not like definitely in the top 10 for me anymore. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
I've waited way too long for Justin to be a star quarterback. I'd put, honestly, Tua has had more success
I knew he was
than,
going to say that.
than Justin has at points.
Don't do that. to
This
my
is
team.
on.
I'm just saying, Tua may have
I'm gonna
glass
lean
skin
in.
and paper bones, but he is absolutely had certain situations where he has looked better than Justin has.
Yeah, they have shown themselves. You know, there's
So is Sam Bradford.
yeah,
So is Trevor Lawrence. He doesn't
Yeah.
get the love either.
Manziel. You know, had a play in there
Don't
somewhere.
you put
I
in-
mean, I'm just
Johnny
saying,
never
all
had
of these
that
guys
moment.
have a highlight that you can.
Johnny
play in
didn't
your
have that
mind.
moment ever since he left Texas. That boy should
That's
never have
true.
come to the NFL.
That is the
What
truth.
about baseball?
I don't. You know, Dodgers just lost and then lost.
We
again.
got several texts yelling at me about these Dodgers, but
Again, well, somebody is a born again Seattle fan
Mariners
over
fan.
there.
Go Mariners.
There we
Speaking
go.
of which,
Mhm.
watch the show tomorrow as Sparky will don his brand new
I
Seattle
sure hope
hat.
so. Fanatics is slow as hell these days.
I mean, it looks nice. It was a very nice hat, but
I want one of those ugly jerseys that they wore over the weekend, the big blue, yellow ones, the old school.
Is it the city ones? Probably,
Uh-huh.
probably the
City
the
Connects.
City Connects have been really nice. I
Yeah.
like the Philly blue
The
and like
Phillies.
the dark blue, and I don't know what color that is on top.
I
But
know
regardless-
Otani's pitching tonight.
Yes,
They need a win. They need several wins, but they need a win tonight.
set the tone.
Yeah, to get
man.
back in. I mean, we're still
Plenty of time.
4 games back from the MLB's top team right now.
Oh, I know.
I mean, we lost 3 in a row to Milwaukee, and then prior to that, we're taking some
Was
hits,
that
but we're
6?
still.
You beat the Giants 2-1 though, obviously
Yeah.
for the All-Star game. And now you
Mhm.
guys are just starting out a little slow again.
Yeah,
But are you on this band with everybody else though that Shohei's taking a hit in his hitting game, obviously because he's pitching too much?
yeah. It seems like that's been since since they stopped having pitchers hit, and I'm not talking about the National League. I'm talking back in the day. Is like they focus on pitching or they focus on hitting
Mhm.
for a reason. It's been just the way that baseball's been played for over a half century. It seems like so. If you have them, spend a lot of their time on pitching, then their hitting might take a
little bit of a down
slump
hit.
or something. But
It
he's
does
just-
seem kind of convenient though that every time he pitches the next day he can't touch the baseball.
yeah, there's
It's
something up
nowhere
there, huh?
near.
But he'll figure that out too. It's his first time back.
I would
He's
hope
got
so.
plenty of time.
Yeah,
and I know
he's a
Roberts
stud.
was saying over the weekend that they're going to put more innings on him because
But see, is pitching him more really the answer in this
Yeah.
situation?
I mean, if anybody knows, it would be Otani
Absolutely.
because he's done this for years. He knows his body more than anybody
And he's too good of a pitching talent not to pitch him.
to not
Right.
let him pitch.
I mean,
exactly.
even if it was just for an inning or 5, it really doesn't matter. But
And
I
a lot of
just-
us weren't even expecting him to pitch this year. So what
Mhm.
we're seeing now, which hopefully, they can get healthy in time. Because really that's all to me anyways, in playoffs, it's all about
I don't
who's
know about
healthy
y'all,
and
but
who's
this
hot.
is the time of year where I hope your guys' major players start getting hurt, so I don't have to deal
Wow.
with them in the playoffs.
That's
I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know a lot of people wish that upon the Phillies too. Okay, everybody loves to see Bryce Harper or Trey Turner get hurt, but I'm just sitting here saying, if I don't have to deal with a Tyler Glasnow in the postseason, a Yoshi or Nobu Yamamoto in the postseason, I'm gonna
going.
be a
There's
lot
plenty.
happier.
So there's
I
plenty.
mean, I'm just saying they got plenty on that roster that
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with.
Right,
So I'm okay
absolutely.
with a couple of these guys taking a couple days off.
I'm
Now,
sure
not
you are.
long-term injuries. I don't want you
I
like
want-
tearing your ACL or anything, but you could pull a hammy right before the series and be out
perfect-
for the series.
perfectly
Sucks.
timed hamstring.
Exactly.
For the playoffs.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with that.
Wishful
Just go
thinking.
rehab the hammy, come back potentially
After
after
the Phillies.
Yeah, after the Phillies, if you beat us.
Uh,
But I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about the team going forward right now, though?
I mean, great. They're sitting in a great. I mean, they're 2-8 in the last 10, right? But it's the Dodgers, man. That's baseball's streaky. They're going to get back on. I mean, look at the stacked lineup. We've got, I think, top. We don't talk about top players in
Do you
football
guys,
and baseball. We have like the top players at half the positions.
I'm
Like,
honestly surprised half the team didn't make the All-Star team.
yeah.
It
I
looked like
really
it.
am. I think that they took a stand, and that's probably where the rule that we were being told last week or the week before that every team has to be represented, which I find to be absolutely absurd.
Yeah, that's
But it's the dumbest thing in the world. But to me, looking at your guys' roster, it's easily the most talented out of everybody. But do you kind of feel like that's going to actually continue on into the playoffs? And do you think that you guys need to make any trades here before the deadline?
No, we don't, but we will. We'll probably pick up some
naturally.
We'll pick up someone great right before everybody throws another pitcher in their rotation or gets whatever the case is. We're going to get somebody else, and it's not going to be any. It's bad right now for other teams outside the Dodgers. If you guys are going to play the Dodgers, you got a lineup, and it's 1 through 9 that is going to be difficult to get out. And then the pitching rotation, the most depth pitching, I think, in the history of baseball, to be honest. We're talking about the Braves back in the day, Smoltz and Maddox, Glavine. It's something comparable to that, I think.
No, that's fair. The only thing that I argue is your closer is awful.
Yeah. We've had Kenley Jensen's great. We've had these closers that are great, and then in the times that I feel like I really need them, they blow the save or something.
Oh, of course.
And then we send them to different teams, and then they just top shelf closers. That's just how it works. It's like a kicker for the Chargers.
I always say it's like playing. That's a good one. Well, actually, no, I take that back because Young Hoku is the greatest kicker in Atlanta history, in my opinion, outside of Matt Bryant, and he came from the Chargers. But no. What my point I was going to get to, now that I completely lost it. Now I'm thinking about it.
About small
the pitching. Sorry, thank you. Your closer has been notoriously poor, but that's really the only thing the Dodgers haven't been able to find. I just feel like a lot of players can't play under the limelights of certain teams.
Sure.
So like when you go to organizations like the Knicks or the Dodgers or something where it really is like pressures on kind of a situation. I feel like the Dallas Cowboys would probably be one of those teams too, because you have to be a special kind of player to be able to deal with a freaking crowd of players or people walking in while you're trying to get a workout in. But I just feel like certain players just can't play well under those conditions, which is why it's so hard to find a closer to actually play for the Dodgers. Because if there is one like pivotal pressure position in baseball, it's the closing pitcher.
Yeah.
If you were the closing pitcher, you have to be good under pressure. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Right.
So,
can you imagine getting brought in with 2 runners in scoring position and you need to get one out and they're putting it all on you and you're the closer?
Exactly.
And you have to run in. It's like, these aren't my runs, buddy.
That's why I've always
I didn't do this.
Kenley Jansen and Tanner Scott are great examples, because Tanner Scott, when he played for the Padres last year, maybe gave up 4 blown saves or something like that. It was a ridiculous number. He comes to LA and he just can't figure it out, because obviously it's a completely different kind of pressure. When you're playing in San Diego, it's a little bit laxer, I would say. Like you can get away with 1 or 2 blown saves. You're not going to get blown up in the media for blowing a save for the Padres. But if you blow a save for the Dodgers, especially against a team like maybe the Padres or the Angels or whoever, media is all over you.
It's the truth.
So I think it's just a completely.
If we're talking baseball, I want to see what a Dodger has to with this salary cap talk. If they bring salary cap into baseball,
I think that's going to ruin. Baseball's always been.
It's going to ruin baseball.
It's going to ruin baseball. You got to have listen. If you're going to have a baseball team in a market like, some podunk town in
Oklahoma,
Missouri,
Continue. I'm listening. I'm sorry.
then that's your choice. That you don't want, that you don't develop a team or I guess a business, if you will, corporate that has enough money.
Develop. I know his head's about to explode.
So if Kansas City Royals are mad and they're doing great, sometimes they put some programs, some teams together about the Dodgers in a great market, in the biggest market. I mean, come on, the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's you getting mad because we got a lot of money. So
they all
do
have
something
money
about it. Do a fundraiser.
I love
Sell
how
some
Dodger
fireworks.
fans always say "we" as if they're the ones paying these contracts.
Dude, I have season.
We got a lot of money in LA.
I'll give it to them because
we got a lot of money.
I mean, if you wear the gear, I've been the very limited amount of people in town that support the Dolphins every year, no matter what. And I buy a new Dolphin hat. I buy a new jersey every year. So it is my Dolphins. And when I was little. When I was little, I used to call people, said, "Do you like Miami?" I said, "No, it's my daddy's Miami Dolphins." Stupid little kid. But I always say it. It's my Dolphins. It's we.
No, I totally get being behind.
When it comes to the Dodgers, it's funny because as soon as that salary cap conversation came up, every Dodger fan I know was like, "They're ruining baseball." I'm like, I think you guys are kind of ruining baseball in the same place. So
I honestly agree with you because everybody I've heard that doesn't like baseball, the first gripe they say is, well, the Dodgers and the Yankees just buy everybody.
Yeah.
Why is that the case? It used to be the Yankees. It used to be if you're a
It's be-
Yankees fan, it's
wait,
like
wait, wait,
betting
wait,
on the
wait,
house
wait.
at Vegas.
Dodger fans hated
Time
that
out. Hold
too.
on. Yeah, exactly. I just what I was about to bring up. Why does it why is it that way? Why is it now Dodgers and Yankees?
Well, because
Do we
there's-
not remember the last 20 years of Dodger baseball?
I do very much so. 20 years ago, we were last place.
I know.
and
And then what did you guys do to get out of that?
Frank McCourt
Traded
his wife
for
had a divorce, and then we got the
player
most-
on the planet from the Boston Red Sox, including Manny
We did get a
Ramirez,
couple
Hanley
good players.
Ramirez, and a lot of other guys,
Those are like just Hall
and
of Famers.
bought everybody.
I mean, I do
we started playing
understand.
New York's game. That's all.
I do understand that they did what they had to do to win games, and it's the same thing in pretty much any sport, like the Lakers or the Heat or the super teams that
Yes.
everyone was like, it's ruining the sport. Yeah, I get it. There are some cheap ass billionaires that could do the same thing, but they don't. And I think it's more of a salary cap thing. Is not as a Mariners fan or not as a anti-Dodger fan. I just think it will bring the competition higher in baseball. I think it'll help the league, and I
Second
think
that
it'll
one.
get the viewership.
I agree with him 100%.
I actually do too, but I'm supposed to
See?
stick up for the Dodgers. That's all. It's going to bring the,
The
level
Dodgers-
of play.
The Dodgers will
It's gonna
still be
better
great.
baseball.
The Dodgers will
Nobody's-
still
yeah,
be great.
Nobody's saying that they're going to take your guys' contracts and blow them up, and you can't pay Shohei $10 million or $1 billion
10 years.
for the next
Yeah.
decade or two. But they're just saying that you can't overdo it. Like, we're going to make it so all of these owners
Mhm.
have to pay a certain amount of money, ergo the A's.
There we go.
And
Mariners
and
need
we
to do
make
something
sure,
with that money you have.
exactly. And we make sure teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Phillies and everybody else who have been buying players, because I won't deny it, Philly's done the same thing.
Mhm.
You'd
Mhm.
cut them back a little bit too. So everybody's back on an even playing field. That's all I'm saying. That's why I think cap salary is necessary.
Let's screw it. Just bring back steroids.
But when you say it's
Yes.
gonna
Amen.
ruin baseball, yeah, exactly. It's like steroid era. Let's calm down, okay? And honestly, steroids saved baseball. If we want to get down to it,
yes, they did.
because at that point,
90s.
baseball was dying until Mark
Strike.
McGuire. Speaking of Mark
Yeah.
McGuire, did you see Mark McGuire's son got drafted too?
No.
Yeah, a whole bunch of actually
Mm.
baseball families got drafted over last week besides the holidays. All we kept
Mm.
hearing was the holiday family, but I guess Mark McGuire's kid got drafted. Manny Ramirez's son got
Yeah.
drafted too. So like we're going to see a lot of these kids hitting the majors pretty soon.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, in our
Makes me feel
last
old.
minute, we'll go back. Tyson, you have your open mic every Monday night at the Firehouse. That is Rosedale. Is it Rosedale?
Yeah, it's Rosedale and Callaway.
The one right
in
there
the
next to
Studio Movie
Dewars.
Grill. Yeah, Dewars Studio Movie Grill right there.
It's fantastic. I
Yes.
cannot wait to go check it out. Hopefully I'll be able to make it out there tonight, my friend. But
Can't wait to
thank
have
you for your time. We appreciate it as always, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, fellas.
We got to take a break real quick, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. ESPN Bakersfield. back.
Oh, Donald Trump.
No. We got some breaking news though. At the Clippers have reached a deal with CP3.
Wow.
Chris Paul will be returning to LA. Very most likely. He will join Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Bradley Beal. Absolute stacked team in LA.
Westbrook too.
I mean, at this point, get everybody on the track. Somebody's got to break this curse for the Clippers. Someone's got to do it. And honestly, if I'm looking at it, we could talk about it too. The Lakers will most likely be signing Marcus Smart once he gets his buyout deal done with the Washington Wizards here in the next couple days. So if you're a Laker fan, at least you have that to look forward to. You have a very solid defensive-minded guard that's can play point or the two. And honestly, with the way the team's defense has gone, he could help you a lot. But when you're looking at a team across the pond there at in Clipperland, although
Really?
this Clipper or CP3 signing probably would have looked better about 3 years ago.
Yes.
But now you have 2 point guards returning to a team where potentially maybe they never wanted to leave in the first place. Because outside of the Hornets, I've never really seen CP3 really feel at home as a point guard more than he was with the Clippers. I would say. That's just me as a fan. But
I thought for sure he was going to go to the Lakers.
I thought so too. But maybe he just the comparison of playing with 2 guys who are ball heavy and ball centric and Luka and LeBron maybe just isn't appealing to Chris. And again, he's got ties with the Clippers. He's played with the Clippers for a long time, and maybe he just wants to reunite with some old teammates and see what he can do out there and hopefully help this team get over the hump and beat a lot of really stacked teams in the West, including the NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder. So we will see if this helps at all with the Clippers' chances next year. But the offseason is still developing. There's still plenty of things that we could talk about here in the next couple of days. Another baseball story before we get out of that situation too. I forgot to mention this. Aaron Judge yesterday tied Aaron Judge tied Aaron Rodriguez. I always want to call him Rodgers for some reason. I see A-Rod, and for some reason I think Rodgers. I don't know why. Aaron Judge tied A-Rod in home runs for Yankees at 351 yesterday. What do you think his final number is going to be in his career, Sparky? Because right now we are 9 years technically into Aaron Judge's career for the Yankees. He came up in the 2016 season. So he's only 33 years old. We have at least, I would say, 5 to 6 years left of good baseball from the slugger. At about 40 home runs a year, these numbers could get
He's only
massive.
7 away from Yogi and 10 away from DiMaggio.
Could we potentially be saying that Aaron Judge is the greatest hitter in Yankees history at the end of his career?
Ooh, I don't know, man.
That's a high
tough.
order,
I was going to say,
especially with
Gehrig and Mantle and Babe.
on DiMaggio.
Yeah, I think he'll catch DiMaggio.
But I mean,
I'm wondering if maybe, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. At the end of his career, not right now. Like, don't get me wrong, I agree with what Rich Eisen has been saying for months, which is if Aaron Judge decided to retire tomorrow, he's a Hall of Famer. It's not even a question. But I'm saying at the end of Aaron Judge's career, and I'll throw that out to the listeners too, 661-842-2000. Feel free to chime in, especially if you're a Dodger fan. Love to hear what you guys have to say about the California boy playing out in New York. But is Aaron Judge at the end of his career going to go down as the greatest slugger, at least in New York Yankees history? Home run hitter? I think it's going to be hard to debate. At least hitter in general, I don't know if he continues to have seasons like he is this year. That's also going to be up there because we always talk about his home run numbers, but this year Aaron's hitting for contact.
Yeah,
Judge is killing it across the board this year. He's hitting 350, 36 home runs, 82 RBIs, 128 hits. I mean, he has put it together in ways that we never thought that he would. So at the end of his career, genuinely, I think we might be talking about Aaron Judge as the greatest Yankees hitter of all time. And that's saying something.
it is, especially with that franchise.
He will never sniff the hit record or anything like that. Let's not get crazy. Home run records are even harder. I mean, he's got the AL record. Technically, he's got the nod. I don't know if he'll ever break 70, even with the steroid era and all that type of stuff. I don't think he'll ever reach that number again. But if he can sniff the 50s, even the high 40s every year from here until the end of his career, we're talking about what, 5 years? That's almost 200 to 250 home runs added onto this number, which is already 351. So we're talking 600 home runs at the end of his career.
So even if he had 200, he would still be behind Babe Ruth.
Naturally.
But I mean, you might be right, just because he's just his own style. He's definitely a first time Hall of Famer. That'll be a tough one. I want to hear what these listeners say, but
I'm just
I mean,
saying,
that just opens up the whole conversation. Is it Aaron Judge MVP and everyone else?
yeah. Well, no, because Shohei is always on that list as well. Even if he pitches or not, Shohei Ohtani is always up there. I think Cal Riley is always going to be up there too. Or I shouldn't say always, but this year.
Well, they're just
specifically.
saying because that was the big argument over the weekend. You know, after All-Star break, you know, the big debate was, is it Judge, Ohtani, and then everyone else, or is Cal in that top three?
I think Cal is starting to be in that consideration of a top 3, at least for this year, because the numbers speak for themselves, and he's starting to have that kind of statistical year that Aaron had, especially if he breaks Aaron's AL home run record at 62. 100% he needs to be in the conversation. And honestly, he probably will win, because that in itself, baseball loves to reward guys who break big records like that. And if you can somehow supersede Aaron Judge's home run record, I think that warrants you going over Aaron as the MVP, even if Aaron had it. Like if Aaron continued this statistical start and ended the season at 350 and, 70 home runs and all that type of stuff, obviously you'd have to bring a nod to that as well. But I think Cal being up there is just, it's hard to ignore. It really is. But yes, from the foreseeable future, at least for the next couple of years, 100% every year you're coming in, MVP is either going to be Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani in their respective leagues, and whomever can step up that season. So I think you're going to see a handful of names, obviously, every year, because that's just how baseball works. But the sustained greatness of guys like Aaron Judge, you can't touch it. Like, it's just, that's why I'm saying at the end of it, I genuinely believe he ends his career, let's say, with 50 home runs a year. That puts him at 600 at the end of his career. And that's if he doesn't get to 50 this season.
Yeah.
Like, that's if he ended this season right now and he got 50 for the rest of for the remaining 5 years of his career. I still say you have to put him up there. If he's under Babe, if that's the only man he's under,
Yes.
really? Like,
If he gets to 600, I believe he'd pass it. But
well, even then, like Babe Ruth, if we're talking about the competition that the two of them have gone up against and all that type of situation too, the styles of pitches, the way these things have changed, the velocity changes that have been there,
you'd have to give it to him,
I have
especially if he gets by Gehrig and DiMaggio and all these other guys.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's crazy to think about that we're watching this much generational baseball go by and nobody cares that much.
Listener said, Judge is and will be the best Yankee we ever saw. Dodgers are really pissing me off right now, making dumb defensive plays. Cost them yesterday. Getting swept in 2 series by Milwaukee really sucks. They need to trade for a veteran pitcher, relief pitcher, and infielder. Also call up their young prospects. Still believe they will win the World Series, but this is tough to watch.
Baseball is streaky, as we said before the All-Star break. This is just that kind of thing you have to deal with. It's going to look bad for probably about another week. Then they'll figure it out. You'll get back on a heater and you'll be right back to the top of the league, just like always. It's weird to me that we're looking at teams like the Tigers and the Cubs at the top of the league, but it is a testament to the Dodgers for how bad you've played this season. And I don't mean that as a stab at the Dodgers. I mean that as just when you really look at what boiled down to this season, how good you are record-wise and how bad you've played is a testament. There was a point in this season where people were genuinely saying, are the Dodgers going to go undefeated? That's how good they really were at the peak of their game. If you guys could get anywhere close to that around playoff time, there's nobody that's going to sniff the Dodgers. There's not. I'm sorry. Like, you can get any team. You can make a super team out of the AL. You can have the entire AL All-Star team play the Dodgers. I still wouldn't think you'd win. So it's like, that's how good you are. But that's why I'm saying it is a testament to the Dodgers of how bad you've played and how good you still are record-wise right now. So I think you're sitting fine. I understand being upset, as you should be as a fan, but I'd calm down right now. I don't think it's that much to really gripe about. Do we have any other text messages?
Not for baseball.
No. Well, we can get to other ones too. There's other sports that I want to
One
get
said,
to,
"How was
but-
the comedy show? I'd like to see Flail one day. I was out of town this weekend, didn't get to see it.
Sparky?
It was a great show. We got to see Anthony. Anthony actually opened up the show, so
Nice.
I was surprised.
Was that a sporadic add in though? Because
I
I know
believe
he
so.
wasn't
Well, he was-
on the card when we originally talked.
He
about
was doing the door when we got there, so I was like, cool, I know one person. And I took the wife, we went, and Flail put us right in the front center. And for some reason, the last 3 or 4 date nights I've taken a Ghostface out with, we get the heckler at our table.
Oh,
So I will say this was the first time I saw a comedy show in that back room,
mhm.
which is awesome. Great venue. At the bars right there. You got your own bathroom. The food was incredible. I
Mhm.
was really impressed. I got
Is that Timber,
California
correct?
burger. Yeah. Timler was bomb. It was sold out. It was a packed show. But I mean, we saw Hacker, which was hilarious. Boydston was great. Flail was hilarious. But the just the heckler. And he was on it all night. He started with Anthony, and it was, I mean, it's always fun to see how comedians react with the hecklers. So that was just fun in general. But I mean, for a Saturday night, we were in and out by 9:15. So I got home, was able to watch the last 2 innings,
Mhm.
which was the Mariners and Astros, and then it got into extra innings. So I had a great night. I mean, I woke up, my foot was all swollen. I banged it. Yeah, it's just another thing. Just getting old sucks. But the comedy show, if you get a chance to see Flail or really any of them, Hacker, Boydston, Anthony killed it.
Anthony's funny.
Yeah.
Anthony is very funny on
But it was
stage. I
just
know
different personalities. Hacker is way different than what you would see in Flail. But overall, it was a great show. I would tell you to go out there, and if you get a chance, I believe they're going to do another one here in a couple months with Flail and his friends. But yeah, it was a cool show. And then the last text was wrestling. So I do want to, before we take our final break, and I know we'll wrap up UFC and if we have time to get into wrestling, but I these documentaries, dude, that wrestling has.
Which one are you on now?
Well, I've finally watched the Spectacle of WrestleMania, which was the documentary on WrestleMania 9.
Mhm.
Was
When they
awesome.
really started taking it to like the next level as a show.
They brought in like the camels and
right,
and how Hogan ruined it.
entrances were really just incredible. And yeah, Hogan ended up pulling a Hogan and ruining it for everybody.
I didn't know, how much hate he had at
Dude,
that
I'm
time.
telling you, there are incredible stories, especially in wrestling, when it comes to like the fans love a guy, but everybody in the back hates him or her. Like there are many situations where they just have that kind of personality where they're not likable. I genuinely think Terry is one of those people.
Yes. Yeah, and you could tell by this show. And I remember him teaming up with Brutus the Barber Beefcake
Mhm.
and the whole mask thing because his the accident out at the lake. And I remember seeing Hogan with the black eye, and I never knew the story around it. And he breaks it down in that one. But there's another one I watched, Totally Awesome.
Is that the
I believe
Mrs.?
No, it's just a Peacock documentary, but they go through the one episode I watched. They have like 3 or 4 seasons. Every time I watch any type of wrestling documentary, there's another 3 or 4 that I didn't know anything about.
Naturally.
But this one was a guy just going through the best factions over 50, 60 years of wrestling.
This is awesome. Okay,
And it was
I've heard
pretty
of
cool.
this.
It was I got to finally see what you guys were talking about with the with Seth and
Seth and
and
Roman,
Roman.
The Shield. Oh, that's
so
right.
I got to see that, and I got to see that Moxley was the third guy.
Yep.
And so I got to educate myself before I went to bed.
I'm telling you, man, like that was, although a very low time in wrestling, it was a very I don't want to say lackluster because it's not the right word, but
just things weren't going right in wrestling back then. The stories weren't flowing like they hoped. The stars weren't there. John Cena obviously had gone off to do his movie thing. And honestly, they were just kind of like, oh God, who's going to be the next guy? They were hoping it was going to be Roman, but they didn't do it the right way at first. That still to this day, though, that faction has to be one of the most iconic I've ever seen. And if you really look at the influences that the Shield have made just in wrestling since then, people, I know they didn't start this, don't get me wrong, but the coming down from in the crowd, all that type of stuff, the attire, the attitude of it, the build of these three, like it really has become a formula for factions, at least all male factions going forward, and even some all female ones too, because there's nods to it in NXT a lot of the time with some female factions. I think you could say that with Fatal Influence right now, which if you watch wrestling over the weekend, TNA Slammiversary, a NXT women's wrestler took one of their main titles at TNA and is now holding two. So there's going to be a lot of stories based around that. I'm not a huge fan of this wrestler, but she's done great work lately, so I'll give her flowers. But in terms of like just how influential the Shield have been, dude, like it's one of those things where when you're watching it, you never would have thought twice about it. You just thought, they're just three main guys that are just coming up and hopefully they're going to be the next big guys in the company. But when you really look at the impact that those three specifically have had on wrestling since then.
Well, they were saying that it was the first and only faction that they all won.
All three won major championships, and all three held major championships at the same time. Because just at the beginning of, I believe, this year or last year, right before Roman lost it, Seth had it, Roman had it, and Jon Moxley had it over in AEW. So like these three, it's like if you put Kobe, Mike, and LeBron all on the same team together. It's genuinely like it's the easiest way to compare it in basketball terms. Is you took three just super mega stars and put them on a faction together. And honestly, it wasn't even supposed to be that way from what I understand. They did it at the very last second. Moxley wasn't supposed to be, or no, one of the three of them, I can't remember which one it was not supposed to be in it. It was supposed to be somebody else, and they made a late switch at the very end and threw, I think, Roman in there. I think Roman was the last guy they added just because of the Anoa'i family and the bloodline and all that, and wanted to get him a little more exposure as the big guy. So it worked out perfectly. But I agree with you. Like there's so many stories behind the scenes with all of this stuff too. And honestly, we'll get into a little bit of
that's what I like
drama.
about these documentaries. You get to see a lot of things that you didn't, growing up.
Yeah,
and that's was I believe that the spectacle of WrestleMania, whatever it was, that's the first time that they've released a lot of these behind the scenes from that WrestleMania 9.
And you're going to get a lot more of it, at least in modern day stuff, with this new docuseries coming out with Netflix that we've been referencing, the WWE Unreal, which is coming up. I cannot wait to see that. I think, again, this is what I was talking about the other day when we were talking about it with Flail, though, right? Like there's a level of fandom that wants to see this and a level that doesn't. Myself, I know Sparky's like this. I love hearing the stories, the stuff that happened behind the scenes, because I want to know what these people are like behind the scenes. I don't care exactly about it outside of that. I think that it's better to know, like, there's got to be a level of illusion to it, obviously. Like, I know Rhea Ripley's real name is Demi, but do I really care to bother Demi in real life to figure that out? No, not really. No. So any kind of look behind the curtain that they're willing to show us, I'm all for it. I am all for it. But it's just, I get why some traditionalists aren't in for it, because obviously that does take away from the illusion of the story, and especially with certain characters like Undertaker and stuff like that. Because when you really tell an old, when a kid grows up thinking Undertaker is a dead man that's a zombie walking around with superpowers, and then you just find out he's actually just a guy named Mark, and it does kind of take away from the illusion of the character a little bit, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, I love Mark Calloway, but when you really boil it down, I grew up as the dead man, the guy who was literally a 7-foot tall zombie with superpowers. And then when you find out he's just a motorcycle loving dude named Mark.
Yeah, this was the first time I got to see like Paul Bearer being just himself.
Right, not Paul Bearer.
That was cool stuff, but it was the first time they allowed cameras in the back, so you can see the expressions of guys like the Undertaker. They were like, "What are you doing back here?"
Yeah,
they were pissed. Yeah, and he was saying that it was always saving the personality, saving the face. So he was one of the few You can see, I think another one was Bam Bam Bigelow.
Mhm.
That was just like, dude, get the hell out of here.
Well, again, remember this was at a time though where these wrestlers relied on kayfabe to make money. Like if you broke that story, this was a time where people believed it was still real. Like these people were legitimately Bam Bam Bigelow and The Undertaker, and Hulk Hogan was actually Hulk Hogan in real life. He wasn't Terry. You know what I mean? Like so when you take that away, especially at that time, there goes their money, because that was the biggest draw for all these people, was the story behind it and all the stuff that they got to see outside of that. So
I knew you were at the beach this weekend, but did you catch any of the UFC fights?
I had to watch Dustin's last fight. I got to catch a little bit of the fights before that, but I had to watch the Max Holloway Dustin Poirier fight. I'm a massive Dustin Poirier fan, and I was hoping he was going to win. And honestly, this fight was great. The first the first round and a half was Max Holloway all the way. It really, really was. But the ability for Dustin to turn it around, he caught a couple good straights to Max's face and really rattled him at the end of the second round. And it turned out the fight, it went the full decision. Obviously, Max isn't going to lose that belt. And honestly, it was unanimous for good reason. He did win the fight overall. But to see Diamond Dustin go down like that, now his career is going to end 30-10 with one no decision. I'm a fan of him regardless. He's one of the baddest men to ever walk into that octagon, and honestly, one of the baddest Americans to ever walk into that octagon. I think he's going to go down as one of the best American fighters to ever be in combat sports. But it was a very entertaining fight all in all. One of those fights where you just expected both of them to stay upright as much as humanly possible. You weren't going to see a lot of submissions. Dustin tried to get him once or twice in that guillotine that he loves so much. It didn't work out, unfortunately. But I was waiting for that moment though, where the two of them looked at each other and Max points at the floor, and you just get that one last bout between the two of them and who was going to be the one standing up at the end of it. I wish they would have done it a little bit earlier. Like if I'm the two of them, they were, respecting the heck out of each other the whole fight. But if I'm looking at the two of them with 1 minute left, I'm looking at them pointing at the ground saying, let's do this. Who's the last man that's going to be standing at the end of this? BMF, baby. And unfortunately for me, as a Dustin fan, Max Holloway ends up pulling it out. And we see the end of Dustin Poirier without at least some gold around his waist.
I liked how they played the Sinatra at the end.
Yep.
Let him do his bows and his goodbyes.
And, dropping the gloves as they all do. But it's sad to see that a lot of these legends are leaving the sport. But as I've said a million times, time comes for us all, and you can't be at the top of the game forever. So leave when you can and leave with your body intact. This has been the Early Bird Special. We'll be back tomorrow. KG will be joining us for our Raw recap of the week. But until then, Sparky, let's get out of here.